I don't know who needs to hear this, but shame will never be the exit that you're looking for from one habit to the next. You know? When we find ourselves in loops of actions that do not align with what we want for ourselves, with our greater good, with our divine self, we often turn to shame. We've been created to feel shameful. The shame wizard is a real thing. If you watch Big Mouth, you know what I'm talking about. But just scientifically, on a quantum level, when you're creating a new neural pathway, right? So for example, let's say you have an addiction to scrolling on social media, which I know a lot of us do, because nonetheless, no, I'm not getting out. Oh, okay, they're going. Okay. So, I was finna get embarrassed, but embarrassed for what? You know, being like, oh no, I'm not coming out, and then you see they're actually trying to get the spot next to you. Nonetheless, you have an addiction to social media, and I struggled with this for a while, especially because I have ADHD, so I'm not getting enough dopamine throughout my day, so I'm yearning for cheap dopamine shots, and social media is going to give that to me, right? So it was really, really hard to pull myself out of scrolling on social media for so long. I was unemployed, and I was freshly unemployed, so I had all of this free time, and I was scrolling for the duration of what would be a whole workday, like 6 to 8 hours, and this is not an exaggeration. And I would feel so awful after, and I would sit there and I would talk about myself and be like, this is not, successful people don't do this, and how are you ever gonna achieve your goals if you just wasted all this time, and you need to do better and hold yourself accountable, and yes, you have ADHD and you're unmedicated, but so what, you know? But that's shame. Shame is only going to push you so far. Shame is only going to push you so far, and more times than not, shame is just going to round that loop out so that it continues in a different way, and usually in a stronger way that does not serve you. You need grace. Grace is the answer. Grace and compassion for self is the key. Shame will never be the exit that you're looking for. You will not be able to shame yourself out of an old habit. And if you experience the illusion of shaming yourself out of an old habit, and mind you, I said illusion, right? If you're experiencing the illusion of that, it won't last. That foundation won't be strong enough for you to actually build what your soul is desiring to build. You know what I'm saying? Because there are people who by society standards are quote unquote successful, who probably use shame to push them into new modes of creating new habits and all of these things. And on the outside it may seem like it works, but that will never amount to what you can achieve with grace. It will never amount. Analogy, sure, let's go for it. I shamed myself with the social media, and I went from 8 hours in and out. Then I can't do this. Tomorrow's gonna be different, and then okay, it'll be 6 hours, and then okay, 6 hours again. Okay, maybe 5 hours, and like it seemed like I'm getting better with it, and I absolutely am, because I'm not scrolling for 8 hours, but I'm shaming myself, right? It wasn't until I gave myself the grace and being like, oh, I got off at 6 hours. I'm glad it wasn't 8. Congratulations to myself. And once I started doing that enough, now I was able to get myself down to 2 hours, 1 hour, maybe 30 minutes in a day. You see? Shaming myself did get me a little bit further, but it wasn't a full, complete exit out of the loop. The loop was still perpetuating itself. And that didn't hold a candle flame to what materialized in my reality when I gave myself grace and compassion, even when I'm existing in a loop that does not serve my highest good. I think that's it. I honestly think that's the rest of the message. Is there anything else that needs to come through for whoever is watching this? Because I know there's a specific collective that I'm talking to. Illusions. I'm hearing illusions. What about illusions are we talking about? Comparative analysis can be an illusion, and it is an illusion. I'm using my my troubleshooting terms. Comparative analysis, and when I'm saying comparative analysis, I am in the context of comparing yourself to someone else, and their journey will never work for you, because that also perpetuates shame. It's not just jealousy that can come up, or envy. No, the base of it is shame. You feel shameful that you are not doing what you want to be doing, and you're seeing someone else doing what they want to be doing. But everyone's journey is different. You do yourself a disservice by comparing yourself to someone else. And this is a message for me as well, because although I've been doing this work for a minute, it sometimes pops up when I'm looking at someone. I'm like, man, they were able to do this, or they did this, and that's great for them. But what? And then I'll stop myself in my tracks, and I'll be like, that's not for you to even see and indulge in that way. No, because it doesn't work. It works against you every time. It works against you every time. We are infinitely intelligent. Our soul knows, our body knows. Tap in to your own energetic field and see what's there for you. And when you can make amends with yourself, and you can heal that inner voice from shame to compassion, from guilt to compassion and acceptance, beautiful things emerge. You get out of your own way. You allow things to flow in your life more effortlessly. You gotta be your bestest friend. Would you keep somebody in your life that if you're sitting down and they see you on something and they just start calling you names, going at you? No, you'd be like, you're crazy. I am never coming back over here ever again. I don't want to go back to grandma's house. You wouldn't. So why would you take it from yourself? And it can be disguised as holding yourself accountable, right? It can be disguised as holding yourself accountable, because sometimes we can mistake accountability for shame, but there's no shame in accountability. It's grace every step of the way. It's grace every step of the way. You know what? I did this. I scrolled on social media too long. I recognize why. And I take accountability for the fact that I chose to do this. I no longer want this reality. And so I call forth the energy necessary to shift me in another direction. And I'll just get 1% better tomorrow. I love you so holistically. I love myself so holistically. And I know and I trust myself. That's another key. You gotta trust yourself. If you can trust that you can get through it, then shame is a non-factor. It's a non-factor. It don't matter. It don't matter. Right, Tree? Yeah. Pine Tree said it don't matter. Beautiful, wise Pine Tree. I didn't know pine trees were so wise. Have a lot of power and energy in them. Nonetheless, I think that's the end of the message. I think that's the end of the message, y'all. It's 11:11. Oh, alrighty. Remember, shame will never be an exit. Hold yourself so compassionately and so graceful through this process. There are so many factors in our external world that work against you. Be on your own team. Be your biggest champion, even if you feel like you aren't doing it right. There is no... You are the only measure and ruler of how right you are on your path. I hope that makes sense. Drop your thoughts below. How y'all feeling? Drop your thoughts below. Because I know that it can, for me, when I first learned this concept, it was really, really challenging for me to grasp. Me being a Virgo and me being a perfectionist and being in the career that I'm in, and how logic-based it is and how logic-based I am, I couldn't find a valid reason to what I thought was babyifying myself. No, I just spent 8 hours scrolling on social media. Why would I give myself grace when I just did something that I know works against me? No, shame on me. A wise woman told me that grace is the doorway to all of the healing that you will need. Through the doorway of grace, you unlock so much within yourself. You unlock so much within yourself. And around this time last year, I actually posted on my Instagram at Leah the Muse. If you all want to go check it out, I can actually tag it below. But I had a message that was similar to this, but it was more so about the grace that you give yourself being reflected back onto you from others, right? The grace that you give yourself is going to be the grace that is given to you by others. When you are a victim of your own self, you become the victim of someone else. When you carry that energy of victimhood, and being a victim is different from victimhood. Because there are so many people who have been victimized and oppressed by the powers that be. That is true and that is real. But that is exceptionally different from living in an energy of victimhood. And when you consistently hold yourself in shame, you are holding yourself as your own victim, and you are existing in a constant loop of victimhood. And that is what you will attract, because all that you are is all that you will attract. Shout out to Joe Dispenza. And shout out to my girl Erin Lyons. That's real. So now that's the message. 1444. 444. All right, y'all. That's it. Have a good day. Be graceful. Be kind to yourself. And share that grace and share that kindness with at least one other person out there in the world, because now more than ever is when we need it. Bye.